Welcome back inside the Actrix Lounge, inside the Danbury Ice Arena for another episode of Catching Up with McCreary with head coach Billy McCreary. I'm Doug Lattuca for another week. And coach, how's everything going?
It's been going good. Hard working week here for the boys, just working on upping our intensity, our compete level in practice, and feel good about the body of work we put in here. And obviously the results on Saturday will speak for what we've done here.
For the fans that don't go to any of the practices, aren't here during the week, what are some of the specifics that you guys are trying to work on at practice to up that compete level and get this team to the level that you want it to be at?
Well, one, just a lot of competitive games, so we're really trying to amp up the energy here and really get competing. And upon that, our D zone, our transition, our specialty teams have been a focus here this week. But certainly upping the energy, upping the compete level is something that we've been focusing on.
3-5 to start the season, but there has been some good in these games despite some outcomes that you might not want. What are some of the positive takeaways you can take away from some of the losses?
I mean, I look at what our group is willing to do, and it's inspiring at times. You look at what they're willing to do as far as blocking shots, selling out, defending each other, fighting for each other. Like, those are all things that can't be taught. And maybe the game is kind of changing and going a different direction and getting away from some of that physicality and things like that. But you have to have it, and you have to be able to defend each other. You have to be able to play that brand of hockey, especially if you want to win a championship. And so certainly the willingness is there. Now it's kind of ironing out the details within that.
And you had a team last year, of course, won the championship. You had a player that led all of professional hockey in penalty minutes. Do you feel like your team might have a bit of a spotlight on itself in the early going, which has led to the league coming down on you guys with some suspensions, some fines, and then on top of that, you've got teams coming into this building, and then when you travel there, playing their best brand of hockey against you guys?
Yeah, we're always going to get the best from every team that comes in here, and being defending champions, that's a crown that we have to be very proud to wear. Everything else as far as the physicality and the image that we have. I mean, listen, Danbury has always had an image for 20 years, and whether you're the hat tricks or the trashers or the junior hat tricks, it seems to kind of carry, with us, and that's something that we just have to understand. And we have to be cognizant that people do look at us a little bit differently, and they do have a little bit of a, I guess a heavier hand at times, and that's something that we have to be proud of, and it's something that we have to adapt to as well. And I think that's something that we're learning to do here early on in the season.
And you mentioned, monitoring your emotions and keeping those in check throughout the season, which is, of course, something that can be learned and something that can be taught by your group. On the play on the ice, in games, seems like there are stretches where you guys have given up goals in clumps. You've scored goals in clumps. You've allowed goals in clusters. How do you keep your team focused to avoid those little bumps in the road?
Just trying to be more even keel, like you said. I mean, there's times where we'll come out and we feel good, and you score 2 in a minute, or 3 in a couple shifts, and then on the flip side, same thing. 1 will go in, and our energy kind of drops, our focus drops, and then 2 goes in, and then maybe even a third. So it's really about controlling our energy and just understanding the ebbs and flows in the game. And we certainly demand perfection here, and that's what we expect. But we also have to just buy into the process. And there's going to be times where we're playing in our D zone. There's going to be times where we're killing penalties. There's going to be times we're on the power play. So we have to be ready for those moments. And we talk a lot about just owning the moment. So let's start dictating the game, owning the moments, and kind of turning those results.
Seems like we have this conversation every time we're in front of the camera or the microphone's in front of your face. Roster continues to change. One of the big players who had an immediate impact was Sam Dabrowski, big forward on the right wing of the top line. He gets the call up, actually scored a goal last night for Pensacola. How do you replace a guy like that?
I don't know if you can really replace a guy, and as a coach, that's not really my philosophy. It's really just about what's best for the team and what can provide the team success. And Sammy's a big, good skating, power forward, has a great shot. Um, we wish him the best of luck. He obviously had a goal last night and had a good game. I think they won 4-0, so it was a good result for Pensacola. But for us, it's just about how do we get the results for Danbury. And, if and when Sam comes back into our mix, we can make those adjustments. But for now, it's really about allowing other guys to have an opportunity. It's a young room. It's a long season. So this is a great opportunity for some younger guys to step up and fill a role and show what they can do and prove that they can be here.
And for the fans that might not understand, you lose a guy like Dabrowski, who was a top scorer for you guys in his short stint here. But there's two sides to this. There's a positive, okay, great, you get elevated. Congratulations, it looks good on the organization for promoting. But then, yes, you lose that production. So kind of take the fans into your mindset of that sort of a transaction.
Yeah, really the stress falls on me. But we, since day one here 4 years ago, it's always been a player-centric program where if you get opportunity that's earned at the higher levels, we obviously support that. If we're bringing young players in and teaching them how to be pros, they're having success here, then they have success at the next level. That's ultimately what this is about. And we then believe that winning becomes a byproduct of taking care of the people, taking care of the athletes. And when you allow those athletes to come in and grow and go on to different levels, typically people want to be a part of those atmospheres, about those cultures. And the other side of that coin is you look at what we're kind of going through now. You win, you have a great year last year, a championship season. You lose a couple guys to the East Coast League, a handful of guys to the Southern Pro League, and those guys move on and up. And now it's time for that other crop to come in. But that's where my job gets a little difficult, where you have to really emphasize the recruiting and finding those next crop of kids to come in and carry the torch.
And we shift the focus to this weekend, Saturday night in Elmira, the River Sharks team that's off to the best start in Elmira franchise history. Of course, had a name change last year and a little bit of a change in ownership, but they are off to a pretty solid start. What's the mindset going into Elmira, first time you're seeing them this season?
We just got to work them. They're a hard-working, gritty team. They've got a really good goaltender, so we got to put pressure on them. We can't sit back. If we sit back, they're going to work. So we got to match their intensity, especially on the road. We got to match their work ethic. If we can do that, we can outwork that team. I think our skill can certainly take over, but we got to play a good, hard, smart, physical brand of hockey. We got to stay out of the box, and we got to put pressure on their goalie. I don't think 20 shots is going to do it in their barn. I think we got to pepper them for 35 or 40 and really make them buy into working in their D zone.
And this is the first time this season you're only playing one game on the weekend. It's typically been 2, and later on in the season it will be 3, and there's going to be a lot of games inside this arena in January, February, and March. Does that help or hurt you guys where it's just one game mindset is on Saturday night in Elmira?
I think it's just like anything. It's all how you look at it. You could look at it as maybe a negative as you get outside of our rhythm of playing Friday and Saturday, or you can take it as a positive and say we get a longer work week, more time to prepare, more time to mentally tune in to our one opponent and, just take care of that one opponent and then kind of move on. So for me, I always try to take the positives, and, it's been a great week of work here. Kind of got an extra day to practice, and, I think it's going to pay dividends for us this weekend.
Now time for everyone's favorite question, the fill in the blank. The Hat-Tricks beat Elmira this weekend if they
score 10 goals.
Score 10 goals. It could be tough. Elmira's off to a great start. They have a very good starting netminder. We'll have the call on our YouTube channel on the Hat-Tricks Digital Network. The game is at 6:07, so we'll be on the air around 6 o'clock. That is Catching Up with McCreary with head coach Billy McCreary. I'm Doug Lattuca.